Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today I'm doing some testing with Thrawn, just going to see how he plays. Again, we won't know how good he is until Empire at War comes out, and we see what other cards are in the set, but I just thought it'd be cool to give him a try. So we're running him at Elite for 17 points, and we're pairing him with FN2199 for 13. So that's our 30 points. We're going to test it against Pomaz. So, why not test it against one of the more powerful decks in the meta currently? But we're going to go ahead and shuffle and draw our hand. Alright, so we have Imperial War Machine. There are some resource costed sides in this deck, so we're using that. Imperial War Machine Probe. This will allow us to look at two cards in our opponent's hand, discard them at our events. This will also, if you don't pull events, it'll fuel Thrawn's ability. So you draw a card that's cost 3, say you draw a lightsaber, or in this case, against Pomaz, a thermal detonator. You know it costs 3, it goes back to their hand. When you roll Thrawn in, you say 3, and anything that costs 3, you get to choose to get rid of a card. So Thrawn, after you activate this character, choose a number, then look at an opponent's hand and discard a card from it that costs the same. Outpost, more focus, more disrupt, collateral damage, and D817. So I'm probably going to keep the D817. Definitely going to keep Probe. Imperial War Machine I'll probably keep, and I'll probably put back, at least for now, Outpost and, what was the other one? Outpost and collateral damage. We maybe want to get a Vibro Knife for FN, maybe his baton. So there's Bombing Run and Promotion. So good amount of disrupt in this deck. So 0 resources, resolve a die showing disrupt, and then each character or your opponent's characters take 1 damage. So that is the hand for FN and Thrawn. We're going to draw up Poe and Maz. Alright, so Holdout Blast, we'll keep that. Field Medic we'll probably keep. Cunning we probably don't need right away. Maybe I'll keep 1 Cunning. We'll put back Field Medic, at least for now. Field Medic and a single Cunning, and we'll draw 2. Duggan and Second Chance. Let's get some resources. I think Thrawn is going to be very dependent on knowing what the meta is and what certain cards are constantly popping up in the meta. So if you're playing against Pomaz, you know we're going to be running detonators, possibly U-Wings, possibly Millennium Falcons, fast hands for 0, as well as hit and run for 0. So if you know, basically you have to know what deck you're playing against to make full use of his ability. Alright, so we're going to do our roll-off here. And the battlefield I'm using for Thrawn FN is Jedi Temple. So look at an opponent's hand and discard up to 2 events of your choice from it. Granted, this could be used against you, so this might be something I change in the future, where I include Jedi Temple, but purposefully pick my opponent's battlefield. And then if I pair Thrawn with a yellow character, I can maybe use Ascension Gun to at least trigger Jedi Temple without having it being triggered on me. But let's go ahead and roll up. Roll up Pomaz. They roll 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and roll FN and Thrawn. We'll just have to refer to Thrawn's card to see what we have here. So we have 1, 2, 3. And that's 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to play on the Jedi Temple. Against Pomaz, you might not want to do that, but we're going to use Jedi Temple in this case, just so they can't cycle. But this will probably get used against me quite a bit. Against the slower deck, you probably want to go with Jedi Temple, but I just want to use it in this. Maybe I shouldn't use it. I don't know. This is just a test, just to see how Thrawn works. So against Pomaz, you would probably want to go for a different battlefield. But if you're playing something a little bit slower, the Jedi Temple is probably probably fairly safe. Alright, so 2 shields on Poe. We're going to end and flip over here. So, first thing I'm going to do, I could probe right away. I can play a promotion. I could also play that. I'm going to look at two random cards in an opponent's hand and discard any of those that are events. So I'm going to probe. We're going to discard a random card. So we know something costs 1, and we know something costs 2. That'll go back. This will get discarded. And that will be my turn. And since they know I have this, they might want to play Cunning now just so I can't know that it's a 2 cost. We have a Holdout Blaster, so we can put that on Poe and roll him. Or we could also just put Cunning on Maz. I think just to prevent them from grabbing it with his ability, we're going to throw that on Maz. So probe is a 0 cost, so we still have some stuff we can play. I can roll in Thrawn and guess a number. So the numbers I know they had one that cost 1 that got discarded with probe, and we saw something that cost 2 that got played. And I'm going to actually go ahead and roll in Thrawn. Going to guess 2 again. I kind of already know what's in their hand, but I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna say 2 cost again, and it's after you activate. So we roll. And then we guessed 2. Let's see what we have here. So we have a blank and 1 disrupt. Disrupt and a blank. I'm going to guess 2. So they're going to show me their hand. And something costs 2. That costs 3. That costs 3. That costs 2. The Holdout Blaster gets discarded. And then it's back to Poe and Maz. We're going to go ahead and roll Poe. And now, as Thrawn, I know the rest of their hand costs 3. We have 3 for a resource and a blank. I can't use Thrawn's ability again until the next round, but I still have 2 resources. So I'm going to play a promotion and draw a card. And we still have FN to roll. But I am going to pay a resource, so we're going to put a pistol on FN. And we're going to use his ability. After you play a weapon on this character, you may roll that weapon die and immediately resolve it if you're able to. +2, we can't resolve it, so we'll just stay out here. Back into Poe and Maz. We're going to go ahead and roll Maz, and then resolve up to 2 dice. Discard, range damage, and a resource. So I'm going to get a resource, resolving 1 die. Play that resource to resolve 3 damage. Not sure who. Now, who do you go after? Do you go after FN? Because he's going to be the one doing the damage. Thrawn's going to be focusing that. So we'll go after FN. So we're going to hit him for 3. Be back over to Thrawn and FN. So we have a disrupt. We also have a blank and a +2 range damage. Would you pay a resource and give Thrawn a promotion? And we'll draw a card. We have an Undying Loyalty. All right, let's go ahead. What's that? Next turn, we're going to roll in FN. We have a +2, a blank, and a disrupt. We have range damage and discard and a blank. I'm going to have them discard a card. We discard Undying Loyalty. Going to go ahead and roll in FN. So we have 2 for a resource and a shield. Over here we have range damage and a blank. We could do 1 range damage, or we could also just claim the battlefield and discard, look at an opponent's hand, discard up to 2 events from it. But then we're leaving them open to just roll and possibly re-roll both FN and Thrawn. I think what we do is we do 1 damage to FN, pass back over. All right, FN now has +2 range damage, a shield, 2 melee for a resource, disrupt and a blank. I do have Imperial War Machine, so I think we could do that. We could go after, take shields off of Poe. We could also hit Maz for 2. I could also do a bombing run, resolve this, even though it doesn't go off. It'll be disrupt, and then we'll do 1 damage to each. I'll probably save that until I actually have a resource, or they have a resource to actually disrupt. Let's see what we're going to do here. I will play Imperial War Machine. We'll resolve 2 melee damage, and we're going to go against Poe. Do we want to hit Maz with that? So we know they still have, in their hand, they have their detonator and their second chance. So next turn, or next round, when I roll out Thrawn, I'll guess 3, and I can discard 1 of them. Unless they discard it between rounds to draw more. Which, they might want to do, because they have it. They might have it in their hand, but then, unless they get like a hit and run, they might not be able to use it. So we're going to do 2 damage, and we're going to knock his shields off, but I think we're just going to do 2 to Maz. We do have Vibro Knights in this deck, so Poe's shields shouldn't be an issue once those Vibro Knights come out and attach to FN. So we're going to grab the battlefield, and they're going to look at 2 cards in my hand and discard, see what it is. Look at opponent's hand and discard up to 2 events of your choice. So the only thing I have is Bombing Run, so we'll discard Bombing Run. That'll be it for them. It'll come back to me. I can't discard for a reroll because they took away the last card. I have a Disrupt, which I can't, or I've Disrupt that I can't use. I was going to use it with Bombing Run, but I didn't. So I have a shield. All I have is a shield, so I'm going to take a shield on FN. And that will be it. And we'll get 2 more resources, and we'll draw up our hand. There's our second Bombing Run. We have another Probe. We have Tactical Mastery, so I can Tactical Mastery, roll Thrawn, use his ability, or I can Tactical Mastery, first action Probe, second action roll Thrawn. We can do that. We have Outpost, and we have Imperial Inspection. So whenever I roll Disrupt, something gets big bounce and upgrade that costs 2 or less. However, they claim the battlefield, so it'll be on them. And let's reset our characters. And they haven't drawn yet, but the thing is, do they want to get rid of Second Chance and Thermal Detonator, knowing that Thrawn knows that they have those cards in their hand, and knowing that he has seen both of them, and they both cost the same? The only thing we could hope for, really, is to, not the only thing, but one thing we could hope for is possibly getting hit and run, rolling Poe, rolling Maz, and then resolving that. So we're going to hope that we get a hit and run. We're going to try that. And there's hit and run, so we can actually do that still. We got our resources, and we're going to start the round. We will play hit and run on Poe, and roll him in. We have special and special. So I could, the only thing I can resolve with it currently is the detonator. So I may as well just roll in Maz. And we'll resolve up to 2 dice. So we have a resource, and a blank. We're only going to resolve 1. We're going to use the special on Thermal Detonator, hitting everything for 3. He'll take 3 and he'll take 2. So FN will be at 6. And then we'll be back over to Thrawn and FN. And what I can do here is Tactical Mastery. I get 2 actions. I can use the first action to probe, and the second action to roll in Thrawn. So we're going to do that. Pay 1 for Tactical Mastery. We now have 2 actions. First action will be probe, taking a look at 2 random cards in their hand and discarding any of those that are events. And we still know, even if we don't pull the second chance, we still know that they have it. So discard a card. There's 1. Discard another card. There's 2. So that gets discarded. This goes back to their hand. So probe was our first action off of Tactical Mastery. Second action will be to roll in Thrawn. We'll activate him. Let's see what we have here. So we have a focus, disrupt, and +1 range. And now I am going to choose the number 3 for his ability. We'll look at their hand and choose a card that matches the number, so second chance gets discarded. And we go back to Poe and Maz. Poe still has a special he can use. Maz has resources. We'll just play Fast Hands on Poe. Go back over here. We still have a resource, so we can play Imperial Inspection for free. We have Outpost and Bombing Run. So I could still resolve Bombing Run now, get rid of a resource, and do 1 damage to each. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do Bombing Run. We're going to resolve Thrawn's Disrupt. It'll get rid of a resource, and then each character will take 1 damage. So that'll do 1 to Maz, and then we'll hit Poe on his shield for 1 as well. Back over here, they have nothing to discard for a reroll. The Poe special is kind of useless right now. We can still we'll get 2 resources. We could do that. Get 2 resources. That'll be it. We have a resource over here still. We will play Imperial Inspection. And it'll pass back to them. They will grab the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, discard 2 events from it. So the only thing I have is Outpost, not an event. I'm going to be back over to Thrawn and FN. So currently I have a focus and a +1 range damage. Let's go ahead and roll in FN. To a blank, melee damage, and 2 melee damage for a resource. We might be able to get rid of Maz. Let's see what we can do here. So we have a focus on Thrawn. We have 3 damage. That'll bring her to 6. We could possibly bring her up to 7 if I focus that into the +1 melee for FN. So I only have 1 resource, so I can't put him to. I can't focus him into the 2 for a resource with only 1. I will only be able to resolve 1 of those. So what we're going to do with Thrawn is focus 1, and focus the promotion to +1 melee. We will then pay a melee, or pay a resource, to resolve this 2. We'll resolve 3. We'll resolve 4 on Maz. So Maz will be at 7. We have a blank. I suppose I could discard for a reroll and hope to get the 1 range. But I don't think we're going to do that, so we're going to keep that. This will be the round. Get 2 resources, and we'll draw 4 cards. Okay, there's a Vibro Knife. We have Tactical Mastery, Commanding Presence, and another Outpost. Poe and Maz have no cards in hand, so it's going to be a guessing game with Thrawn now. He doesn't know what's in there. So you kind of have to know about the average cost of upgrades in any given deck to use his ability effectively. So let's draw 5. Alright, so Maz is almost defeated. We pretty much have to put second chance on her to at least keep her alive a little bit longer. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So pay 3 resources, and we will throw second chance on Maz. Back over to FN and Thrawn. So we have 2 outposts. We can play one of those. We can play Tactical Mastery, or we can get a Vibro Knife on FN. I think what we're going to do is get the Vibro Knife on FN. We could roll in resolve because of his ability. Resource. Why not just take? We'll take a resource. And it also has ambush. So the ambush ability, I could pay one tactical mastery, do 2 more actions. I think I actually might do that. So we're going to pay a resource, play tactical mastery, 2 actions. First one will be to roll in. Let's go ahead and roll in Thrawn. And I will guess, let's say 2 will be the number I choose after I activate. Let's see what I get here. So we have shield, 1 focus, and 2 focus. So period inspection doesn't go off. I am guessing 2. So we'll switch back over here. And anything that costs 2, I can remove 1 of them. So there's another cunning. We have a planetary uprising. We probably don't want that going off. That costs 3. That costs 2. I am going to get rid of their planetary uprising. I'm not too worried about dodge. Rocket launcher can do a lot of damage, but I'm not too worried about dodge because FN does have some range damage, and so does the pistol, but the deck is more melee focused. So that was the first action off of Tactical Mastery, was to roll in Thrawn. Second one is going to be to roll FN. See what we have here. Shield, shield, resource, and blank. And we have 2 focus from Thrawn, so we might be able to get those damage size to where we want them to be. First thing we'll do is roll in Poe. We can resolve 1 die now with fast hands. However, we don't have a resource to resolve. We could discard that and trigger and do one of the other sides. But let's see what we got. So we have 2 damage and 2 damage. We can resolve 2. So I am going to do 2 damage to FN. He's at 6, so he'll be at 8. So he's at 8. Let's see what we have here. We have a resource. I can get a resource out and get out commanding presence on Thrawn or potentially even FN. There is some redeploy weapons in here, like his baton, which if you get that out, it can transfer over to Thrawn once FN is defeated. So we have 2 focus. I think I'm going to focus, do the double focus on FN. Double focus on FN or double focus on... Yeah, so let's set the Vibronet to the +2 melee, which is side number 3. So that's a single focus, and the other focus we will put FN to his second side for just 1 melee. We have 3 melee sitting there, 3 unblockable damage. Let's go back to Poe and Maz. Poe could do 2 more damage. However, we're going to roll Maz and resolve up to 2 dice. So we have focus, resource, and focus. I don't know if I want to focus Poe to his special because I don't have... actually, I do have... I'll do this. We'll do the resource, get it. And then we will focus Poe to his special. Granted, I can't resolve that special currently because I used 1 resource or 1 die to get a resource and the other to focus. But I do have enough to actually pitch the rocket launcher and deal enough damage because he's at 8 damage to defeat FN. So let's see what we want to do here. Do we have anything we can remove dice with? Currently, we don't. 7, we can defeat Maz and pop second chance off of her. Currently, nothing to remove Poe's special. So we're going to resolve 3 melee damage on Maz. So it should be a 6, so an 8. That will defeat her, but it'll pop second chance off. And she'll be back with 3 damage on her. So Maz has 3 damage, and we have a focus and a shield for Thrawn. So then we'll go ahead and resolve Poe's special, pay the resource, discarding Rocket Launcher for its 4 damage side, 3 damage side. Doesn't really matter. So FN is at 368. He'll be at 9. He'll be at 11. He'll be defeated. These will get discarded. And FN is defeated, and they have 1 die left with a focus. Back over to Thrawn. So we have a focus, and we have a shield. I can also just claim the battlefield, which I think is what I'm going to do. I'm going to claim the battlefield and look at 2 events of look at their opponent's hand, discard up to 2 events. We don't have 2 events, we just have 1. But I also get to see their hand, so I can, when the next time I roll out Thrawn, I'll know they have something that costs 2. So we'll get rid of that. That'll go back to their hand. And that will be the round for Thrawn. Nothing else to focus here, so that will be the round for Poe and Maz as well. Get 2 resources and draw 4 cards. Alright, that looks good. Jump back over to Thrawn. Gonna discard an outpost, and probably discard the other outpost, and draw 4. Get 2 resources. So I could drop Imperial Discipline now. That'll give me some more resources, and I can actually change dice to be range damage. I could also overwrite Promotion with a baton, which I might do as well, because Thrawn doesn't have any damage currently, so the baton will at least give me some damage. So we're going to get rid of Promotion and pay 2 resources to put out the Riot Baton. So Riot Baton on Thrawn. They could. The only thing they have to pitch that hat for his ability is not the thermal detonator, rocket launcher. So they need resources to be able to use that. So I think what we're going to do, we could also do Planetary Uprising, and potentially get a resource later from either Poe or Maz's rolls. Put out 2. We're going to put out our Planetary Uprising. And what else can I do here? So that has I can do Imperial War Machine, but we're going to roll Thrawn, and we're going to choose 2 as the number again. Roll Thrawn, let's see here, and the baton I will re-roll. So 2 damage. I guessed 2. So we'll pull the hand over here. And something that costs 2, I can get rid of Cunning. I can get rid of Cunning. Only thing I can get rid of is Cunning, so we'll get rid of that. And Thrawn has Disrupt and the Blank, so Imperial Inspection will also trigger, which will get rid of Cunning. So Cunning got removed of Imperial Inspection. We're going to go ahead and roll Poe. We'll resolve 1 die. We have 2 and a Disrupt, so we'll do 2 to Thrawn. Thrawn is currently at 5 damage. We could discard for a reroll. So we have Disrupt and a Blank and 2 melee damage. I am going to do 2 damage to Poe. Pop that and pop that off. Going to go ahead and roll in Maz, hoping to get maybe a focus, maybe a resource so we can discard the rocket launcher with Poe's ability. And it is both blank for Maz, so we can't do any of that. Go back over to Thrawn. We have Disrupt and blank. We have nothing to disrupt. You can also just claim the battlefield and do that. I think that's what we're going to do. So we've already done the max amount of damage we can with Thrawn with the baton. So let's go and claim the battlefield. And I get to discard up to 2 events. And seize our hand. We have a 0 cost, a 2 cost, a 3 cost, and a 1 cost. So discard any events, or up to 2. So we'll discard Field Medic, and we'll make note that they have a 0 cost, a 2 cost, and a 3 cost card in their hand. Going to discard Cunning to reroll everything. And Thrawn is claimed, so everything is Poe and Maz now. So we have the special to use Rocket Launcher, but we don't have the resource. So we're going to go ahead and discard Fast Hands to reroll Maz. 1 range and a shield. So I think what we'll do is, we're not going to be able to use a special currently, but we'll do 1 damage to Thrawn. Bring him to 6. We'll get a shield on Poe. And the special, can't do anything with the special, so that will just come back here. Get 2 resources, and we'll reset. Here's the thing, do I discard the rocket launcher, knowing that as soon as Thrawn activates, he's going to guess 3? We'll see. So, draw 4. They also have detonator, so we can use that on Thrawn as well. Get 2 resources, we'll pull these dice back. We're going to discard an Imperial Discipline. Keep 1, and we'll do that. We'll draw 2 cards. Hold out Blaster and dodge. So I can play Hold out Blaster and roll Thrawn. Might do that. We can also save those resources to dodge any range damage, because both Poe's dice have range damage and so does Maz's. I think what I want to do is get some more damage output on Thrawn. Even though it is mixed damage, we're going to throw a Hold out Blaster on him. And as the ambush action, we'll roll him. And since we already saw that rocket launcher earlier, we're going to guess 3 when we do his ability. Let's see what we have here. So we have 4 and 5, which are shield and 2 resources, okay? Plus 2 range and 2 melee. I'm probably going to keep the 2 melee on there. I suppose I could roll it to get a 3, but then I don't have any resources to spend to actually use it. So we're guessing 3. Get their hand and discard something that costs 3. You see, they have the rocket launcher and the detonator. The rocket launcher is slightly more damaging currently because it does 1 more damage, and because it 4 damage for a resource as opposed to hitting everything for 3. So we're going to have them discard the rocket launcher. Give them that back, and be on them. They have 2 resources. They can also draw attention, and they have defensive position as well. Do you have anything that has a value of 2 or higher? So those will go away. Those will go away. Actually, Thrawn controls the battlefield, so that wouldn't work. But we're going to go ahead and roll Poe. Resolve 1 die. Maybe get the special. Maybe resolve Thermal Detonator. Special. We'll fast hands the detonator. Hitting Thrawn for 3. He'll be at 9. And it will now be back to Thrawn. So no resources, but I have 2 melee damage. Plus 2 range damage. 2 resources. And the shield. So we're going to go ahead and take 2 resources. Be back to Poe and Maz. Poe could also do a disrupt. We have focus and a shield. So we get a resolve up to 2. Let's focus Poe to his 3 damage side, is number 2. And we will pay the resource and deal 3 to Thrawn. That'll defeat Thrawn. We're here. So that is Thrawn and FN have been defeated. I'm still really liking Thrawn's ability just to, when you roll him, being able to kind of pick a number and have them discard something. I don't know if Thrawn will be the answer to Pomaz. Maybe like a rainbow deck with Thrawn where you're running something. So you're running him at red. You then run maybe something like Balatik at yellow and something else on blue to get access to all the removal from those 2 colors. If you run yellow, you get access to Electroshock, and he doesn't like you. If you run something blue, you get access to, feel your anger and isolation. So it's going to take some time to kind of see who Thrawn pairs with. And then again, like I said earlier, we're really not going to know how good Thrawn is until the full set comes out. But so far, I'm really liking his abilities. So, especially if you know what decks you're playing against and what the general cost of pretty much everything in the deck might be is, you get to remove those cards, have them discard them, and also you get to see their hand too. So just being able to get that information from Thrawn, I think, is huge. But that's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.